Hey turtles, welcome to Grammar and Writing. Today is Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday. Today's Thursday, February 25th, 2021. Wasn't sure, forgot what day. All right, today we are going to be reviewing parts of speech. Parts of speech are the different types of words that we use in sentences when we speak, when we write. For example, nouns. Now, nouns, as a reminder, are a person, place, thing, or animal. Nouns can be common nouns when they don't have the exact name, like dog or boy, or they can be a proper noun when we say the exact name, like Mocha or Matthew. So proper nouns, remember, have a capital letter at the start of the name. Common nouns are lowercase. Another part of speech are adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. They tell us more about nouns. For example, fluffy dog. Fluffy is the adjective, and it's describing the noun dog. So adjectives, words that describe nouns. The last part of speech that we are going to focus on today are verbs. What are verbs again? Verbs are action words. They're things we can do, like running, jumping, playing. These are all verbs. They're all things we can do. Now we're going to use these parts of speech today to create what's called cinquain poems. Can you say that? Cinquain poems. It's a tricky word. Cinquain. Now this is a special type of poem that doesn't have rhyming words, but it uses those different parts of speech and focuses on one specific topic. Cinquain poems have this shape. It kind of looks like a diamond. I'm going to make that smaller. Kind of looks like a diamond. See that? Now we're going to fill in each of these lines to make a poem. First, I'm going to tell you what would go on each line because a specific part of speech goes on each line to make it a cinquain poem. First, we start with a noun, a person, place, or thing. That's on the top line. Then on the two lines underneath, we write two adjectives that describe the noun. So these two adjectives describe that noun up top. Notice how there is a comma in between the adjectives. So we're listing them. Then underneath that, there's 3 lines. On those 3 lines, we put 3 verbs. And for cinquain poems, we specifically focus on verbs that end in ing. So that's why this right here says verb ing. And these verbs still focus back on this noun, just like the adjectives describe that noun. Then the next line, it's just one big line. On that line, we write a 4-word phrase again about that noun, that subject we started with. Now it's a phrase because it doesn't have to be a complete sentence, which also means it wouldn't have a period at the end of it. Now there's one more line. On that last line, we write another noun. But this noun has to be what's called a synonym to the first noun, which means that the nouns pretty much mean the same thing. All right, let's look at an example of this to try to understand it more. I wrote my own cinquain poem all about plants because I was inspired by science class. All right, I'm going to first read the poem and then I'll talk about it. Plant, green, leafy, growing, swaying, absorbing, makes me feel happy. Flora. So first I started with a noun. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. I started with a noun, plant. Then I thought of two adjectives to describe plants. So I thought, well, they're green and they have leaves, so they're leafy. Then I thought of three verbs, action words, that the plants could do. So I thought, well, they grow, growing, because remember we want ing. They move in the wind, which reminded me of swaying. And just like we've been learning, they absorb nutrients from the soil and the sun. So absorbing. Then I thought of a 4-word phrase. So this isn't a complete sentence because if it was a complete sentence, it would say like plants make me feel happy or they make me feel happy. But it's not a complete sentence, it's a phrase. Makes me feel happy. Then the last word, it's another noun, and this is a synonym of the original noun we started with. And flora is actually a fancy word that we can use for plants. I'm going to share one more example, and then we're going to write one together. This next one is about candy. And you know it's about candy since that's my first word. That's my noun at the top. Candy. Chocolate, yummy, melting, crunching, chewing. Kit Kats are my favorite. Treats. So this is my cinquain poem all about candy. Now let's try it together. Go ahead and take out lined paper or a notebook and a pencil. You can pause the video whenever you need. If I'm going too fast, just pause it. But you're going to write it with me because I'm going to help you set up your paper. So let's start by putting the date at the top of your paper. Next, skip a line or two and then draw a line kind of in the middle of the page. This is going to be your noun. You can label it. That might help. You could write noun. Pause the video and think about what you want your noun to be. What do you want to make this cinquain poem about? When you're ready, skip a line or two and then draw 2 lines and put a comma in the middle. And you can label this. These are your adjectives. ADJ stands for adjective. Pause the video. Think about 2 adjectives that describe your noun. Then skip a couple lines and draw 3 lines like this and put commas in between. You can label this VB. What do you think that stands for? Verb. Now remember, your verbs have to end in ing. So pause the video. Think about 3 ing verbs that remind you of your noun. Then skip a few lines and draw 1 big line. And underneath it, you can write 4-word phrase. Pause the video and think about what you could write there. 4 words that relates back to your noun. It can say the noun in it, but it doesn't have to. And last, skip a few lines. Draw one last line in the middle, like that line we started with. And label this one also noun. And this one is going to be a synonym of your first noun. So it's something that means like the same thing. Now this synonym noun part sometimes is like the trickiest, but just try your best. If you're writing about dogs, you could put puppies. If you're writing about flowers, you could put plant. So this one, try your best with this part. Now reread your Sing Queen poem out loud. Make sure that you wrote each part correctly. And give yourself a pat on the back because you just wrote a wonderful Sing Queen poem. On the bottom of the page, you can draw a picture to go with your poem. It can be simple. Add a tiny bit of color. Have fun with this. Can't wait to read what you wrote. Thank you.